Right now, in your own home, your gun storage could be illegal, and you don't even know it. 7 gun owners were arrested last month for violating storage laws they never heard of. Today, I'm breaking down 7 deadly gun storage laws that could get you arrested in your own home. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to store your firearms legally in every situation, even when the laws seem designed to trap you. Here's what's terrifying. Michigan just filed its first criminal charges under new safe storage laws in 2024. California prosecuted 3 parents last year for negligent storage. 2 got felony records and lost their gun rights forever. The fines up to $10,000. Jail time up to 5 years. And these weren't criminals. These were legal gun owners who thought they were doing everything right. Let's make sure you're not next. Number 1. Storing loaded firearms where children can access them. Here's the scenario that's landing gun owners in court. You keep your home defense pistol in your nightstand drawer, loaded and ready. Your 1-2-year-old knows it's there. You think you've taught them gun safety, so it's fine. Wrong. Under child access prevention laws now active in 27 states, including California, Florida, Texas, Illinois, and New York. If a minor can access your loaded firearm without your permission, you're breaking the law. Even if nothing happens, even if they never touch it. The penalty in California, it's a misdemeanor with up to 1 year in county jail and a $1,000 fine if no one gets hurt. But if that child uses your gun and someone is injured or killed, you're looking at felony charges. In Michigan, under their new 2024 law, improper storage that leads to injury carries up to 5 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. That's a Class E felony that destroys your right to own guns forever. Here's how to stay compliant. First, invest in a quick access biometric safe for your home defense gun. These open in under 2 seconds with your fingerprint fast enough for emergencies, secure enough to meet legal requirements. Second, if you can't afford a safe immediately, use a cable lock through the action and store ammunition separately in a locked container. Third, document your storage method with photos and receipts. This creates evidence of compliance if you're ever questioned. And fourth, check your state's specific requirements because locked container definitions vary. In California, a locked container must be fully enclosed with a lock. In Illinois, it must be in a securely locked box. Know the difference? But here's where it gets worse. Even if you don't have kids in your home, you could still be violating storage laws. Number 2 is where I see the most confusion. Number 2, not using state-mandated locking devices on firearms in your home. You might think I live alone, no kids, so storage laws don't apply to me. Dead wrong. Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey require all firearms to be stored with trigger locks or in locked containers when not in use, regardless of whether children are present. That means if you keep your AR-15 leaning in your closet, even in your own bedroom, you're committing a crime. If police enter your home for any reason, a wellness check, a domestic call, even a noise complaint, and see an unsecured firearm, you're getting charged. In Massachusetts, violating safe storage laws is a felony punishable by up to 2.5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Your firearms are confiscated immediately, and your license to carry is revoked permanently. In New York, it's a class of misdemeanor with up to 1 year in jail, 1 violation, 1 unsecured gun. Career over. Here's your compliance checklist. First, if you live in Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, or New Jersey, every firearm must have a trigger lock or cable lock when not on your person. Buy them in bulk. They're $510 each. Second, install a gun safe or locking cabinet. For long guns, wall-mounted racks with key locks meet the legal definition in most states. Third, keep your carry pistol on your person or in a quick access safe in use means physically on you or under your immediate control. Fourth, if you have guests or workers in your home, lock everything up before they arrive. Temporary access by others can trigger storage law violations, even in states without strict requirements. Document everything. Now, you might think the storing guns in your car is safer than your home. Think again. Number 3 is the mistake that's getting gun owners arrested at traffic stops. Number 3, storing firearms improperly in your vehicle when you're pulled over. Picture this. You're driving home from the range. Your pistol is in the center console, unloaded with a magazine in the glove box. You think you're being responsible by separating them. A cop pulls you over for a broken taillight. You inform him you have a firearm in the vehicle, which you're legally required to do in 11 states. He asks where it is. You point to the console, suddenly you're in handcuffs. Why? Because in states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, improper transport means having a loaded firearm or ammunition accessible from the passenger compartment without a concealed carry permit, even if the gun and ammo are separated. In Ohio, improperly transporting a firearm is a fourth degree felony, carrying up to 18 months in prison and a $5,000 fine. In Michigan, it's a 5-year felony and permanent loss of gun rights. And here's the kicker. Even if you have a concealed carry permit, if your gun isn't stored according to state law during transport, your permit doesn't protect you. The officer has discretion to arrest you on the spot. Here's how to transport firearms legally in every state. First, if you don't have a concealed carry permit, your firearm must be unloaded, cased, and stored in the trunk or a locked container inaccessible from the passenger area. That means a hard-sided locked gun case in the trunk, not the back seat, not under the seat. Second, ammunition must be stored separately in a different locked container. Third, if you're traveling through multiple states, follow the Firearm Owners Protection Act. Keep guns unloaded, cased, and locked in the trunk during interstate travel. Fourth, if you have a concealed carry permit, verify reciprocity in every state you're driving through. 15 states don't honor out-of-state permits, and improper transport violations trump your permit. Fifth, during a traffic stop, keep your hands visible. Inform the officer immediately and follow their instructions exactly. Never reach for your gun or case without permission. Listen, if you don't want to accidentally break a gun law and end up in handcuffs, hit that subscribe button right now. I break down these confusing laws every single week so you never miss an update that could save you from a felony charge. Don't let ignorance of the law destroy your freedom. Subscribe to Guns Law Guide. Now let's keep going because the next 4 mistakes are even more dangerous. Number 4, storing firearms in prohibited areas on your own property. You own your home. You think you can store your guns anywhere on your property? Not true. If you live within 10,000 FTH of a school, and that includes private schools, daycares, and even homeschool co-ops in some states, federal law prohibits possessing firearms in that zone unless you have a state-issued carry license, and the gun is unloaded and locked. That means if you store guns in your detached garage, your shed, or even your car parked in your driveway, and any part of your property falls within that 1-yard FT radius, you're violating the Gun-Free School Zones Act. Most gun owners have no idea this law even exists until ATF or local police show up with a warrant. Violating the Gun-Free School Zones Act is a federal felony punishable by up to 5 years in federal prison and a $5,000 fine. Your firearms are seized, your carry permit is revoked, and you lose your Second Amendment rights permanently. In 2023, a Texas gun owner was prosecuted for storing rifles in his garage 800 FT from an elementary school. He lost everything. Here's how to protect yourself. First, measure the distance from your property to the nearest school using Google Maps. If you're within 1,000 F, you must have a valid state carry license to store firearms on your property, even in your own home. Second, ensure all firearms in that zone are unloaded and stored in locked containers. Third, if you don't have a carry permit and you're in the zone, store your firearms at a friend's house or a gun range locker outside the 1,000 FT radius. Fourth, document your compliance with photos and GPS measurements. This sounds extreme, but federal prosecutors love these cases because they're easy wins. Don't hand them a conviction. Now, here's a mistake that's even more insidious because it targets gun owners who think they're following the rules. Number 5 is a trap. Number 5, storing so-called assault weapons without proper registration or compliance features. If you live in California, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Maryland, or Hawaii, owning an AR-15 or similar semi-automatic rifle isn't illegal. But storing it without compliance features is a felony. California's assault weapon laws require registration, fixed magazines, and specific grip configurations. New York's SAFE Act mandates registration and prohibits certain features like pistol grips and telescoping stocks. If you inherited a rifle from a family member, bought one before the ban, or moved from a free state, and you're storing it in its original configuration without registering it, you're committing a felony every single day. Police don't need to catch you using it. Just possessing it in your home is enough for arrest. In California, possessing an ARI-percented unregistered assault weapon is a felony punishable by up to 3 years in state prison. In New York, under the SAFE Act, it's a Class D felony with up to 7 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. Connecticut prosecuted 11 gun owners in 2023 for failing to register AR-15 seconds after their registration deadline passed. Every single one lost their firearms and their right to own guns. The state doesn't grandfather you and they prosecute you. Here's your action plan. First, if you own any semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine and any prohibited features, pistol grip, flash suppressor, telescoping stock, grenade launcher mount, check your state's assault weapon registration requirements immediately. Second, in California, register through the California Department of Justice online portal before the next deadline. In New York, register through the state police. Third, if registration has closed, you have 3 legal options. Modify the rifle to remove prohibited features using a fixed magazine or featureless grip. Surrender it to law enforcement with no penalty or sell it out of state to a dealer in a free state. Fourth, never assume you're grandfathered in. Possession is the crime. Registration is your only defense. Fifth, document everything with photos, receipts, and registration confirmations. If you're raided, this paperwork is your freedom. But here's what's even more dangerous. You could be 100% compliant with storage laws and still get arrested. Number 6 is the trap that catches legal gun owners. Number 6, storing firearms where prohibited persons in your household can access them. Here's the nightmare scenario. Your adult son lives with you 10 years ago. He was convicted of a felony drug charge. He served his time. He's clean now, and you trust him. You keep your guns in a safe in your bedroom. He doesn't have the combination. You think you're protected? You're not. Under Federal Law 18 U.S.C. 922, it's illegal for a prohibited person to possess or have access to firearms, and prosecutors interpret access broadly. If your son knows where the safe is, knows you own guns, and could theoretically access them while you're away, you're both committing federal felonies. This applies to anyone in your home with a felony conviction, domestic violence, misdemeanor, restraining order, or dishonorable discharge. If a prohibited person in your home is found to have access to your firearms, you face federal charges for aiding and abetting illegal possession, up to 10 years in federal prison, and a $250,000 fine. The prohibited person faces the same 10-year sentence. In 2022, an Illinois man was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison because his brother, a convicted felon living in the same house, knew the location of his gun safe. The brother never touched the guns. It didn't matter. Both went to prison. Here's how to protect yourself. First, identify every person living in your home and verify their legal status to possess firearms. Run a background check. If necessary, it's worth the $30. Second, if a prohibited person lives with you, your firearms must be stored in a location they cannot access under any circumstances. That means a biometric safe. Only you can open or storing firearms off-site at a range locker or trusted friend's house. Third, never disclose the location or combination of your safe to anyone in the household. Fourth, install security cameras in the room where firearms are stored to document that prohibited persons never enter. Fifth, consult a firearms attorney to draft a legal agreement, documenting that the prohibited person has no access or knowledge of firearm locations. This creates a paper trail proving you took reasonable steps to prevent access. Sixth, if possible, the prohibited person should move out. Cohabitation with prohibited persons creates perpetual legal risk that no safe can eliminate. Now, the final mistake is the one that destroys gun owners who think they've done everything right. Number 7 is the most prosecuted storage violation in America. Number 7, not reporting stolen firearms within your state's mandatory reporting deadline. You come home from vacation, your gun safe was pried open. 3 handguns are missing. You're devastated. You call your insurance company first. Then you start documenting the loss for your claim. 2 weeks later, you finally report the theft to the police. You think you did the right thing. You just committed a crime. 11 states, including California, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C. require firearm theft to be reported to law enforcement within 24 to 72 hours. If you miss that deadline, even by 1 day, you're guilty of a misdemeanor or felony, depending on the state. And here's the trap. Most gun owners don't even know these laws exist until they're charged. In New Jersey, failing to report a base stolen firearm within 36 hours is a third-degree felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $15,000 fine. In California, it's a misdemeanor with up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine per unreported firearm. In Maryland, failure to report within 72 hours is a misdemeanor with up to 90 days in jail. And prosecutors love these cases because they're easy to prove. The timestamp on your police report is all the evidence they need. Here's your emergency protocol. First, know your state's reporting deadline right now. California, 5 days. New Jersey, 36 hours. Maryland, 72 hours. Illinois, 72 hours. New York, 24 hours. Second, if you discover a theft, call law enforcement immediately before you call insurance, before you post on social media, before you do anything else. Third, document the theft with photos, serial numbers, and a detailed list of missing firearms. Keep a master list of all your firearms with serial numbers in a separate secure location so you can provide this instantly. Fourth, get a copy of the police report and keep it permanently. This proves you reported within the deadline. Fifth, follow up with ATF by filing a theft report on their website within 48 hours. Sixth, if your stolen firearms are used in a crime and you didn't report the theft, you could face liability for damages in civil court on top of criminal charges. Report immediately every time, no exceptions. Those are the 7 storage laws that are getting gun owners arrested right now. Let's make sure you never become a statistic. Let's recap the 7 storage mistakes that could land you in handcuffs. Accessible firearms when children are present, up to 5 years in prison in Michigan. Not using state-mandated locking devices. 2.5 years and $10,000 fine in Massachusetts. Improper vehicle storage during traffic stops. 18 months in Ohio for a 4th-degree felony. Storing firearms in gun-free zones on your property. 5 years federal prison under Gun-Free School Zones Act. Storing assault weapons without registrations. 7 years in New York under the SAFE Act. Storing firearms accessible to prohibited persons in your home. 10 years federal prison for aiding illegal possession. Failing to report stolen firearms within state deadlines. 5 years in New Jersey for missing the 36-hour window. Any one of these mistakes could cost you tens of thousands in legal fees, years of your freedom, or your right to own guns forever. The laws are designed to trap you. Don't let them. Don't let confusion about gun laws put you at risk. Subscribe to Guns Law Guide so you never miss an update that could keep you legal and protected. I break down these complex laws every single week so you can own guns with confidence and stay out of handcuffs. Hit that subscribe button right now. Next video, I'm covering the 5 concealed carry mistakes that are sending legal gun owners to prison. You won't want to miss